Hello and welcome to another podcast right here at manxradio.com.
Mark Tiley, the nation station, Manx Radio.
This week on MiTunes, I've got a bass player who can act, who's very good at IT, and was born and raised on the Isle of Man, third generation Manx. We know what to call him because he's told me. Johnny G, welcome to MiTunes.
Good morning, sir.
It's lovely to have you with us. I've watched you play in so many bands over the years, and most recently in what I believe, what I think, and what I know was the most incredible musical, Once. And we're going to talk a lot about that a little later on. But Johnny, I want to take you back to school, and when a lot of us were picking up guitars, you thought you'd go for the bass.
Yeah, it was kind of, I was hanging around with Phil Reynolds and Mark Cleater, and Phil was playing guitar, Mark was playing keyboards, and it was just, they needed a bass player, so I was like, oh, well, I'll pick the bass up, and, 40 years later, I'm still playing it.
And how old were you when you picked up that bass?
16.
16.
Yeah.
Did you have lessons?
Nope. No, just got a book and worked out what to do.
Oh, so it went from a book?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And who were the bass players that were in your head as a young man thinking, oh, I like that?
It's kind of weird because I look back now and there aren't that many influences. Obviously, it was Mark King because he was playing all the time. But I'm actually going to give credit to a local guy called Charlie. Charlie's not with us anymore, unfortunately. He played for Night Shift. That man had so much groove, and the way he played was fantastic. It was just like, I fortunately got to talk to him about 5 or 6 years ago and just told him what an influence he'd been to me. It's like meeting one of my legends.
Now, bass players and drummers are a bit like buses. They tend to come around in pairs. Do you find that when you get a relationship with a drummer that you really just want to play with that person?
I'd say it's just easier. You get used to the way they play, and you get like a mind link with them is the best way to put it. So I'm working with Andy James a lot at the moment, and he's great. But I've worked for years and years with Johnny P, and I just love playing with that guy. Yeah. He's just great.
I mean, you are the engine room of any band, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah, we just sit there and do our stuff so you guys can sound good on the top of us.
Well, I don't think so. I think it's got to have that energy and the drive. And just working together.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking energy and drive. I mean, that's around about the timing of notes and the way they hang together. It's like if I'm working with Jim Horton, Jim's quite ahead of the beat. He's quite a regimented drummer, which tends to make the beat drive very well. If I'm working with Johnny P, he tends to sit a little bit behind the beat, which makes a really nice groove, and it just grooves rather than drives. So it's about the placement of the timing of the notes and where they fall around the beat.
Now, you told me you've been in an awful lot of bands, but apart from what you're doing now, I know what musicians are like. It's always the most exciting thing is what you're doing right now. And I know Once was just a feast for your stimulus. And we'll talk about that, as I say. But going back a bit, what are some of the bands that were highlights for you?
Oh, Begode Road, which was the Four and a Bunch of Skankers.
Oh, right.
Pretty much similar sound, similar set list, really good. Lots of ska stuff in there, lots of punk, was really good. That was a big one for me. There's a band called Time Bandits, which was one of my first proper bands. It was ridiculed at the time because we were wearing white spray suits in pubs around the Isle of Man. It was ridiculed, but I learned some really good lessons thanks to a guy called Roy Hall in that band. It was a real good band for me to be in.
Well, as I say, Once the musical is something I want to talk to you about tomorrow. But for now, we're going to start off our musical week with a bit of Motown.
Well, yeah, you look at Motown, it's more only about the vocals and things like that. But in the background, you've got James Jamerson on bass, who's an absolute epic bass player, and you'd never hear of him. But the entire setup for Motown was a group of guys called the Funk Brothers, and they're the same people recording sessions, doing 2 or 3 sessions, 2 or 3 tracks a day, 2 or 3 number ones every single day. And James Jamerson basically invented modern bass playing as a way to think about it. And the track I've picked, Bernadette, is a great example of it. And you get further examples further down the road. Pino Palladino pretty much copies his riff in Forget You by CeeLo Green, which is worth checking out too. Just fantastic. James Jamerson, if you haven't heard him, go and listen to him.
Bernadette, people are searching for the kind of love that we possessed. Some go on searching their whole life through and never find the love I found in you. And when I speak of you, I see in envy in other men's eyes, and I'm well aware of what's on their mind. They pretend to be my friend when all the time they long to persuade you from my side. They give the world and all their own for just one moment. We have no Bernadette. They want you because of the pride that it gives. But Bernadette, I want you because I need you to live. But while I live only to hold you, some other men, they long to control you. But how can they control you, Bernadette, when they cannot control themselves? Bernadette, from wanting you, needing you, but darling, you belong to me. I tell the world, you belong to me. I tell the world, you're the soul of me. I tell the world, you're a part of me. Bernadette. In your arms I find the kind of peace of mind the world is searching for. But you give me the joy this heart of mine has always been longing for. In you I have what other men long for. All men need someone to worship and adore. That's why I treasure you and place you high above. For the only joy in life is to be loved. So whatever you do, Bernadette, keep on loving me. Bernadette, keep on needing me. Bernadette. Bernadette, you're the soul of me, more than a dream. You're the plan to me, and Bernadette, you mean more to me than a woman was ever meant to be.
My guest this week on MiTunes is a bass player. He also worked for the government. He also worked for a bank. He's now an IT guru. Is that fair, Johnny G?
I wouldn't say that.
I don't know. I can tell he is. How'd you get into the government?
Just came out of school. I started working for the lottery office, which was quite good. Got to go around and see people. And then I started... Oh, you're asking me now. I can't... Oh, no, I started on the tourist board. I worked on the tourist board for a long time. Some great things we did there. That was a lot of fun. A great place to work.
And did it mean travelling a bit? Or
Yeah, I got to travel to Port Erin a few times.
oh, you see, big journeys.
I did actually do a couple of shows. I went to Glasgow, went to County Antrim Bike Show and things like that. And they were great, but some of the local events were even more fun.
Do you think we're selling ourselves enough these days?
I don't know. I've got to be honest. I don't really even look at it anymore.
That's all gone.
Yeah.
All gone. Right, let's get back on that bass guitar. The hillbilly sound.
Yeah, I love rockabilly. It's one of my favourite genres of music. We've brought down the music down to the Blues Club a couple of times. It's been great fun when we do it. The band's on hiatus at the moment. We're just too busy to do it. But it's just high energy punk with a double bass kind of thing I like doing. And it's really good fun. Yeah, there's not much you can say about it apart from, once I actually got to play some rockabilly bass in it, which was quite good fun.
Well, absolutely. Once, a dear listener, if you saw once, don't worry, we are going to talk about it, but we're going to tie it in with tomorrow's tune. Let's talk about playing the bass and that sort of rockabilly sound, because I was reading moments in research are never wasted, Johnny G, and I was reading about what makes people drink beer, and apparently country music is the best rhythm and rockabilly is the best beer drinking music, something to do with the tempo and the way it works with your arm. And you can check it out yourself.
I'm going to have to look at that.
It is very good drinking music.
I mean, generally it's just root fourth all the way for me. It's like root fourth, and then you'll change up a fourth or something like that. So it's fairly simple for me. But I can see why you'd want to be able to drink beer to it.
Yeah.
And have a few snacks maybe.
Do you get a chance to look at the rest of the band and enjoy the band you're in as a bass player?
Sometimes you do, sometimes you do. Sometimes I can be a little bit busy with what I'm doing. I tend to try to be the best player I can every single time I'm playing. which tends to make me very focused on what I'm doing. But when we come down to the blues club, I can just calm down and have a relax, listen around, see what's going on, and just have some fun. And that is quite good. You look around, you watch you stood there on guitar smiling away, and that's quite good.
Always have a laugh. Yeah. Well, I always enjoy it if nobody else does. Now, going back to technique on the bass, because, I've worked with various bass players. I've seen them do all sorts of things. Some slapping it with their thumb and some just playing with fingers. Some, in fact, probably one of the most famous bass players, Phil Lynott, in Thin Lizzy, used a plectrum quite a lot of the time just to keep that sort of almost a percussive beat going there.
You get a lot of attack with the plectrum. The first thing you initially get is a big attack from it, and then the waveform calms down a bit after that. So you do get a very percussive first note to it. I mean, if you're talking slap bass, that's all about percussion on that one, with the notes as a secondary. If you're talking slap on a double bass, then that's even different again, because you're actually using your whole palm to slap the bass on that and pull the strings in a different way. So there's various ways of doing things, but percussion is part of it. We are very, very linked to the drummer.
And do you vary your technique depending on which song you're playing or genre?
Yes. In the 80s band, I'm playing all kinds of things, so there is some slap bass being played. I'm playing quite a bit with plectrum because it's right for what it's doing. And there's a couple which have a flanger on them as well, and if you use the edge of the plectrum, you get more in the flanger, so you can hear you get the emphasis on that.
That'll be a pedal.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Let's have a little bit of rockabilly. Who have you got for us?
We've got the Hillbilly Moon Explosion. I quite often go out and just look for unusual kinds of music to see what our band can do. And I found these guys, and they were doing a track called Call Me, which I like. And then as you go down the rabbit hole of what other stuff they do, I came across this track, and it's one of my favourite tracks ever anyway. And the version they do is absolutely fantastic. I hope you guys enjoy it, because I do. I love this track.
And what's it called?
It's called Jackson by the Hillbilly Moon Explosion.
We got married in a fever, hot and pepper sprout. We've been talking about Jackson ever since the fire went out. I'm going to Jackson, gonna mess around. Yeah, I'm going to Jackson, look out Jackson Town.
We're going down to Jackson. Go ahead and rock your house. Go play your hand, you big talking man. Make a big fool of yourself. Oh, you go to Jackson, but go calm your head.
I'm gonna snowball Jackson.
I'll go ahead and see if I can.
When I reach into that city, people gonna stoop and bow. All them women gonna make me teach them what they don't know how. I'm going to Jackson, gonna change my coat, 'cause I'm going to Jackson.
Goodbye, that's all she wrote. Oh, you go to Jackson, you big talking man. I'll be waiting there in Jackson, behind my J-Pan fan.
We got married in a fever, hotter than a pepper sprout. We've been talking about Jackson ever since the fire went out.
Go to Jackson, that's a natural fact.
We're going to Jackson, ain't never coming back. We got married in a fever, we got married in a fever.
It is time on MiTunes to get stuck into what for me has been the musical event of the year, possibly of the decade, and I don't say that lightly. If you missed the musical once, you missed Johnny G riding his bass like Roy Rogers on Trigger. Unbelievable performance. The whole show was jaw-dropping. Johnny, how on earth did you get involved in that?
I was conned into it. I completely conned into it. I like doing shows. They're great to do. And every now and again, someone will say, will you audition for this? And it's generally, I got asked to do it by Dave Holland. He said, you should audition for one. I said, okay, yeah, I'll do it. He said, talk to Sarah, his wife. So I talked to Sarah, and she said, yeah, we've got the musical auditions in the morning, acting parts in the afternoon. She said, do you want a character role? I went, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Not actually knowing what a character role was. She said, so we'll do that after the music. I said, great, that's fantastic. So I went upstairs and said to Helen, who's former West End ASM, and I said, something about a character role. And she said, great, I'll help you with your lines. And I went, lines? What? I'll have lines? She went, oh yes, you'll have lines with a character role. It's like, oh no, my memory's just not good enough for this. I'm so used to reading charts and things like that.
Because normally you'd be in the pit.
Yeah, I've got a chart in
Out
front
of
of me.
sight, just busy playing away.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't even know if my memory's going to be good enough for this. But she said, no, we'll be fine, we'll work on it. And I was thinking about the whole evening, and it was just like we were gigging that night, and I really don't want to do this. It's so far out of my comfort zone. I'm a bass player, I'm not all the other things. And I just, no, I'm uncomfortable and unhappy doing it. And my mind just went, no, if you don't want to do it, you have to do it. And it's like, I said that to Dave Dawson the next day. He said, great, let's get you doing it then. So I read for a couple of characters. I read for Svek and Andre, who are the Czech characters, but I couldn't do the accent. But then we started to do the Irish one, and that felt more comfortable to me and more natural. So it was, and then a few days later they said, yeah, we'd like you to do Eamon. It's like, okay, here we go, so let's see what happens.
Eamon who ran the studio.
Yeah.
Well, it was a perfect fit. So just for my information then, that role wasn't necessarily tied to the bass player in the show.
No, the bass player should actually be Andre, who was played by Jack.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of juggling around. So in the studio scene, where if I'd been Andre, I would have been playing bass, and he would have been the studio director. So basically, he was playing my bass, so we worked that one out.
I think I should explain, in case you missed the musical once. First of all, I'm sorry you missed it. It was exceptional in every last detail. All the people on stage were not just acting, singing or playing, they were doing everything. There was no orchestra in the pit. They were the orchestra, they were the show. And you converted the whole Gaiety into an Irish bar for most of the time, which was much appreciated. Very, very good. But you weren't the only one in that show having to take on new challenges. I mean, so many people took on things for the first time or had to up their game.
I mean, as I said, I felt like I was cheating. I've said this to the cast so many times. All I did was play bass. Yeah, I had to do a little bit of acting, but I just maintained I was just pretending not to be me. I just happened to be pretending to be an Irish guy. You got people like Chloe who learned to play accordion because she doesn't play accordion. Kelly, who had to really step a violin up. Grania, who doesn't play piano, learning to play piano. Jeff on the drums. Everyone did something really exceptional. Me, I just played bass and stood in it a few times. It's, I'm going to play down what I did. They were just next level guys.
Well, I'm tracking down a lot more of the cast, because you can imagine, to do this. And when we get Lorcan in here, I want to talk to him about his migration from being a classical tenor singer to being fundamentally Ed Sheeran, for goodness sake.
Oh, yeah, Lorcan. I'd never really chatted to Lorcan before, and we were just larking around at rehearsal one day. And they had this harmonium thing which he played in North Strand. And we're doing a show at the time, we were doing Dick Barton Special Agent, and Nessa Dormer was in that. So Dave Kilgallen starts playing on this little thing, don't know what exactly you call it, and Lorcan just starts singing Nessa Dormer, and it's like, holy moly, how good is this guy? Yeah. Lorcan's voice is phenomenal. Yeah.
And he's no mean player.
No, he's a great player.
He's very nice.
And he's a very nice guy too. Very pleasant guy.
Well, we'll get him on as well. But let's talk about the shows, and you're going to give us a show tune today. But it's not from once.
No. This is one of my favourite show tunes. It's from a show we did in 2013. And the backstory is, 4 weeks before the show, I managed to dislocate every single finger on my right hand. Almost.
How?
Fell off a ladder.
Oh, no.
And it was literally, we did the band call 2 weeks before the show, and I wasn't even sure I was going to be able to do the show. It was that bad. But as the show went on, my hand got better, stronger and better and faster, and it got, it's not perfect, but it's not like it was before, but at least it was right. And this particular song, there's some stops in it. It's probably the last show I did with Peter Mitchell on drums, and you'd pause for about 3/4 of a bar, and I'd just look at him, he'd look at me, we'd grin like lunatics, and off we'd go again. It just kept on happening and happening, that link between the drum and the bass playing, just having fun when you're doing it.
Talk us into it.
So, it's You Can't Stop the Beat from Hairspray the Musical.
You can't stop an avalanche as it races down the hill. You can try to stop the seasons, girl, but you know you never will. And you could try to stop my dancing feet, but I just cannot stand still. 'Cause the world keeps spinning round and round. My heart keeps time to the speed of sound. I was lost till I heard the drums and I found my way. 'Cause you can't stop the beat. Ever since this whole world began, a woman found out that she could shake up a man. So I'm gonna shake and shimmy at the best that I can today. 'Cause you can't stop the motion of the ocean, of the sun and the sky. You could wonder if you wanna, but I never ask why. And if you try to hold me down, I'm gonna spit in your eye and say that you can't stop the beat. You can't stop the river as it rushes to the sea.
You can try to stop the hands of time, but you know it just can't be.
And if they try to stop us seaweed, I'll call the NAACP. 'Cause the world keeps spinning round and round, and my heart keeping time to the speed of sound. I was lost till I heard the drums and I found my way. 'Cause you can't stop the beat. Ever since we first saw the light, a man and woman like to shake it on a Saturday night. So I'm gonna shake and shimmy it with all of my might today. 'Cause you can't stop the motion of the ocean or the rain from above. You can try to stop the paradise we're dreaming of, but you cannot stop the rhythm of two hearts in love to stay. 'Cause you can't stop the beat.
You can't stop my happiness, 'cause I like the way I am. And you just can't stop my knife and fork when I see a Christmas ham. So if you don't like the way I look, well, I just don't give a damn. 'Cause the world keeps spinning round and round, and my heart's keeping time to the speed of sound. I was lost till I heard the drums, and I found my way. 'Cause you can't stop the beat. Ever since this old world began, a woman found out if she shook it, she could shake up a man. And so I'm gonna shake and shimmy it the best that I can today. 'Cause you can't stop the motion of the ocean or the sun and the
bass players. They are a rare breed. However, in Johnny G's case, it was the bass from the word go. 16, you told us, and you jumped on that beautiful instrument, and you've been playing it ever since.
I have to thank my parents. They actually bought me my first bass, and I've still got it.
What is it?
It's a Hondo Pro 2. Robbie Sampson's got it at the moment for doing some studio work.
Hondo.
Yeah.
Nice bass.
Very nice bass.
Very nice. Japanese, yeah?
Yeah. It actually, Ricky Simmons did some work on it as well. He put it's got an ebony fingerboard on it, moved the bridge. Lots of work on it. It's still a great instrument.
Yeah. You are versatile, and you're also very happy to jump in when needed, pretty much anywhere.
Yeah.
Somebody's missing, you're there.
Yeah.
You're in.
Yeah.
Is that something you enjoy doing?
Yeah, it's kind of like it's the musical equivalent of skydiving. You're never quite sure what's going to happen. I jumped in this year for Nova, which is great. Those guys are fantastic. But it was such a change for me because there's a lot of disco, very bass orientated. And normally you jump into a depth gig and it's like maybe, a couple of days' work to do it. No, that was 40 to 50 hours work to be capable of stepping up to what they did and to sit down with George beforehand, who's a great guy. And going through what they did and what they did differently. But then you do it, and it's like I've got the notes now, so I can drop in with them. A week later, I was depping for Skankers, which was great. You just get these varied gigs. And every now and again, you'll do something you weren't expecting. Someone will give you a track you've never heard of before, and it just opens your mind to the other music which is out there. Things you wouldn't have listened to or wouldn't have played or wouldn't have found on your own.
Would you, had the door opened at the right time, have said, bye-bye government, bye-bye Britannia Building Society, goodbye Synapse, and disappear off on the road?
There was actually a point where I was earning more from... I was doing cabaret gigs at the time. I did 10 years of doing cabaret. And
Where?
I was in the resident band at the Palace at the time.
Okay.
So we were doing Fridays, Saturdays and Sunday lunches, and I was getting more from that. And I was like, shall I? And I stayed where I was because I decided I like music the way it was, where it wasn't my main meal ticket. So it's about the passion rather than having to earn money. I think that's the big thing for me. I can enjoy it and not have to worry about it. I can just, if it all stops tomorrow, I don't have to worry about paying the bills.
I guess it does change the focus when what you've got to be out there, and when it's not happening, you're not feeding yourself.
Yeah. I mean, do you think I was counting the gigs up this year, and I'm already up to 70 gigs this year so far. I've got to run shows coming up. I'm in Greece. That will open on tonight. Tonight, we're opening tonight with Greece. That's going to be great at the Gaiety. And it's like, I'm averaging maybe 120 gigs a year, which is a fair amount, but it still wouldn't keep the roof over my head.
No. If you could be in any band, any style of band, and go out there, what sort? I mean, because you've talked about so many genres. What would it be?
Oh, you've got me there. I love playing rockabilly. I love the physicality of it because it's as much about playing music as the physical skill involved in it. You've got to be fit and strong and healthy to do it. And I was for a while racing mountain bikes just to be physically fit enough to play the bass. And that would be great to do. Or a soul band, or an 80s band, or a jazz band.
Just knock on his door and say, we've got a gig tonight, your man there. Johnny G will be there. What are we going to finish up the week with? Well,
this is one of the tracks I got through depping. I jumped into the Chris Winchester band a couple of years ago, and they said, this track here, Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats, and I'd never heard it before. And I love this band so much. They're such a great band. The album this is taken from is great. There's no bad tracks on it. But yeah, I love this one, and I especially love the intro to it, which if you know me, you'll understand from his first words.
Fair dues. Here it is then. We'll have that to wrap things up. Johnny, thanks for coming in. Have a great run in Greece, and we'll catch up again soon.
Definitely. Thanks for having me, Mark. I appreciate it.
The game's up. You're surrounded. Come out with your hands on your head.
Goddamn. I need a drink.
I'm gonna need someone to help me. I'm gonna need somebody's hand. I'm gonna need someone to hold me down. I'm gonna need someone to care. I'm gonna rise and shake my body.
I start pulling out my hair. I'm gonna cover myself with the ashes of you, and nobody's gonna give a damn. Son of a bitch, give me a drink. One more night, but this can't be me. Son of a bitch, if I drink it clean, I'm gonna drink my life away. Now for 17 years I've been going them back. 17 more will bury me. And somebody please just tie me down. Ah, somebody give me a goddamn drink. Son of a bitch, give me a drink. One more night, this can't be me. Son of a bitch, if I can't get clean, I'm gonna drink my life away. Yeah, yeah. My heart is breaking, hands are shaking, bugs are crawling all over me. My heart is breaking, hands are shaking, bugs are crawling all over me. My heart is breaking, hands are shaking, bugs are crawling all over me. My head is aching, my hands are shaking, bugs are crawling all over me. Son of a bitch, give me a drink. One more night, this can't be me. Oh, son of a bitch, if I can't get clean, I'm gonna drink my life away. Yeah. Son of a bitch, give me a drink. Son of a bitch, this can't be me. Son of a bitch, if I can't get clean, I'm gonna drink my life away.
Thank you, Johnny G. What a great week it was on MiTunes. And thank you for joining me, Mark Tiley, for the latest MiTunes podcast. They keep coming, you know, and loads of others do as well. At manxradio.com, home of the best podcasts on the Isle of Man. Be back soon and catch me if you can for the morning show, 9:30 to 12 with Shaw, Isle of Man.